Sunshine, coming to you live from the Regina Sunshine Show here in Douglasville, Georgia at Regina Sunshine Global Network. And I'm so excited to introduce you guys to two in-house amazing guests. One returning guest, more like family, Terry Moore, and a new guest to the Regina Sunshine Show, Miss Tabitha Shepherd. It's going to be a great show. I can't wait for you guys to hear what they have going on. But I do want to make a couple of announcements before we start the show today. Well, I guess we already started the show, right, Christine? First of all, y'all, I'm tired. I'm just going to say that. I'm sleepy. I'm tired. I'm in a season of work. People keep saying, oh, you need to rest more. We all recognize there are seasons in our life where it's about work. That's where I am right now, because there are so many dreams and visions, not only that I have, but the people that are attached to me have. And I recognize that God is opening doors for me to walk through so that I have the opportunity to bring them through those doors as well. So we'll rest a little bit later, but right now we got to work. But I do want to mention, if you don't know, tonight is the kickoff for Team Bride Tribe. It is our very first game show out here at Regina Sunshine Global Network. We got some others in the works, but this one launches tonight at 7 o'clock p.m. We actually have a pre-launch mixer from 6:30 to 7. We'll do line dancing and some of everything during the pre-launch. There'll be food here. Our food sponsor is Carrabba's, so come on out and get your supper on with us. But Team Bride Tribe is a game show that asks the question, what tribe knows their bride the best? Let me get that right. What tribe or which tribe knows their bride the best? And so in a Family Feud / newlywed game type setup, our brides answer a series of questions, and then their tribes have to see if they can match the questions. And then the prize for the night goes to the tribe who knows their bride the best. And so we have prizes that will go towards either the bride's wedding, her reception, or her honeymoon. We're actually going to be giving away some honeymoon vacations as well. So we're really, really excited. A big shout out to our Team Bride Tribe team captains, Michelle English and Cindy Brooks, and our host, the host of all hosts, Mr. Jason J-Boy Carey. Can't wait for you guys to come out. He was here last week. The women loved him. I did say the women loved him because every woman in here was trying to make up an event they needed a host for so they could get his number last week. So definitely come out. We're going to have a great time. And again, like I mentioned, Carrabba's is our food sponsor, so they'll be here feeding. We have a ton of vendors as well. Great time on a Monday night in Douglasville. Come and do something positive, meet some amazing people, and have a good time. So that's Team Bride Tribe pre-show mixer from 6:30 to 7. The show kicks off from 7 to 8. It's going to be a great night. All right. For those who don't know, on November the 17th, I will be hosting the second annual Curvy and Confident Awards here at Regina Sunshine Global Network. And it's my opportunity to be able to honor some women that are doing some amazing things in the community. As well as this being the 4th year, we'll be having the Awesome Girl Awards. And that's where I honor girls aged 5 to 17 that are excelling in whatever their area of gifting is. If it's music, if it's entrepreneurship, if it's academics, maybe they're servers in the community, it's whatever their particular area of gifting is, they are excelling in that. And one of the reasons I started the Awesome Girl Awards, along with the Young Boss Awards for the boys, is that so often we see people being honored, or our young people being honored for either athletics or academics. But what about the ones that are gifted in art, that are amazing salespeople, who have great hearts and they serve in the community? You don't often see them being uplifted and edified. So my goal was to recognize young people that are excelling in whatever it is that I know God has purposed them to do and for them to excel in. So that's the Awesome Girl Awards. And I've already got some amazing nominations. If you have a girl aged 5 to 17 that you would like to nominate to be with us on November the 17th, you can send me her headshot, her bio, and why you think she's an awesome girl to the Regina Sunshine Show at gmail.com. That's the Regina Sunshine Show at gmail.com. So we're going to have a great time. And I can't give you all the secrets away, but those who have been to the Awesome Girl Awards know that it's not just about an award. We do some special stuff for the girls. My goal is for the parents to cry. That's always the goal. So I start looking for stuff that's going to be such a blessing in the kid's life that the parents boohoo cry. That's the is what I like. So when I look at an artist and the parents are crying, I'm like, did it. I did it. So yes, if you got some girls that you want to nominate, again, send me their headshot, their bio, and why you believe that she's an awesome girl to the Regina Sunshine Show at gmail.com. Awesome. And if you see this cover on the table right here, I just want to make sure everybody knows we did launch our 4th issue with me as editor-in-chief of Bold Plus magazine this past Saturday. I'm so in love with this cover. If you don't know, the young lady on the cover is comedian Miss Jen Thomas. She just came off the road opening for Cat Williams. And she also is the founder of 2 businesses, one called Gravy Thick, which is a plus-size apparel line, but also she has a new women's empowerment organization called Big Girl Nation. So check Miss Jen out, as well as all the other amazing articles. I have to just show you some of the beautiful things. That's Robin Shockley with Focus Forward with Robin. You know, I might have to find my station manager's article, you know, because she was like, she didn't know her. There is Christine's ad in the magazine for her compilation book. If you don't know, Christine is doing a plus-size women compilation book, having women tell their stories about what it's like to be plus-size in America. So you can reach out to her, get this magazine as well. But yes, you can go to boldfavormagazine.com and get this issue of Bold Plus, or you can go to issue.com, which you may not know is the largest platform for digital magazines online. And I will say this, I got to give a shout out to my team. Our very first issue back in January with Tamika Georgia Harper on the cover has 55,000 plus impressions on issue.com right now. So we're doing some amazing things, and I can't do them without my team. So thank you to Christine Gardner, our social media director, Robin Shockley and Clarissa Partlow, our PR, Anita Mitchell-Blackwell, the founder of Bold, David Good, our president, and just everybody that came out and supported us on the launch of our 4th issue. You know, for somebody who didn't know what they were doing when somebody asked them, I'm talking about me, to take over a magazine, clueless. I think we did okay. I think we're doing all right. And I have to remind everybody why I took on this assignment, because I believe every time I tell this story, I think it helps someone. I have a rule in my life, and it's if I'm afraid to do something, I have to do it. So when people ask me to do something, if I recognize that fear in any way is inhibiting me from making the decision to do it, then I have to do it. So when Anita called me and asked me to take over as editor-in-chief of Bold Plus, at first, I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to do it. And then I thought about it. I said, because I'm afraid. I said, the moment I hear that I have to do it, I was like, all right, Lanita, I have to do it because I'm afraid to do it. And she trusted me. She trusted me to put together a team that would make it work. And I have to say, I'm proud of this team. They have shown up and shown out for me. And I think we're doing okay. What you think, Christine? I think we're doing okay. Yes, for only 1 year in the game. I'm sorry. That's it. So that's it for the announcements. Sponsors. Well, we do need sponsors for Regina Sunshine Global Network, for Bold Plus. I'm getting the word for sponsors. I'm trying to figure out something else that I should be getting sponsors for everything we're involved in. How about that? Oh, yes. Thanking the sponsors. You know what? It's so good to have people on your team that remember stuff you don't remember. Shout out to my sponsors for the Regina Sunshine Show. Anita Mitchell-Blackwell with Bold Favor magazine and with Leading Through Living community. Let me tell y'all why I don't remember. Y'all see, I normally have papers over here. I got a notebook with a couple words scribbled on it. That's why I don't have my notes today. I know, I don't have anything over here that I normally have. So thank you, Lanita, for always being such a big supporter of what I do here at the Regina Sunshine Show. To Terry Searcy, who's in the other room, but he can hear me here at Studio T, for supporting us and giving us a space that we can launch dreams. Because what I have envisioned, and I guess this is what was supposed to be said at this moment. That's why that the Lord, the Holy Spirit told Christine to say what she said about the sponsors. This is going to be an incubator for great ideas and for new shows. People will come here looking for a space for someone to partner with them, to take an idea, to bring it to life, and then for us to go out and find a major network to pitch it to and to sell it to. That's what we're about here. We teach classes here on talk show host coaching, public speaking, a number of other things here at Regina Sunshine Global Network. So if you got an idea, You got an idea for a show, a game show, and you just don't even know where to start. Let's have a meeting. Come out here, sit down with me and my team. We got the space for it, I promise you. And if you've ever been here, we got more space behind this wall right here. So whatever you want to do, we can make it happen out here. If you want to put on a play, you know, all those things we can make happen for you here at Regina Sunshine Global Network. And I've told people before, God has already shown me Oprah walking through that door, not because I went looking for her, because she's going to hear there's something special going on in that building. And she's going to come out here to see what's going on. So we're excited. Wherever you are, Oprah, we're ready. Just come on in. We will take our notebooks out, Christine, right? And take all the notes we need to take to make this thing do what I know it's supposed to do. All right. So I like to go to the first break talking about something that I'm thankful for. I normally have something written down. And I have to say right now, I'm thankful for people who believed in my vision when they couldn't see it. Because it's the vision carriers, it's those who are running ahead with the vision you have in your heart that helps you bring it to life. And there were people, when I left Instinct Radio, and it was just me and my show, and no prospects, and nothing else to come out to this building but me and my show. There were people who said, you know what, I'm going to run with you. And I'm thankful for those people that when they didn't see it, they loved me and believed in me enough that they came with me. And because of that, now people are showing up and wanting to partner with us and wanting to do shows because they see the team that has formed around me. And I'm so thankful for this team, these people, this love that happens in this building. Because people come out here when my team is in the building, they're like, we just like being in the building. Y'all have so much fun because we love each other. And we do understand that when one of us grows, we all grow. The rising tide rises all ships. And every one of us are going to see our dreams fulfilled because we love each other. Thank you, God, for this team and for this space and for the dreams that are going to come out of this room and for the days ahead, 20 years from now, when we sit around and we talk about our humble beginnings in Douglasville, South Carolina at 4040 Chapel Hill Road, Suite T. All right? We're going to take a quick break. When I come back, I can't wait for you to meet Tabitha Shepherd. She's going to bless you so good. You're live with Regina Sunshine here on the Regina Sunshine Show. Where? Regina Sunshine Global Network.
They say we don't deserve it all. It seems like they always pray for the fall. Even when our backs up on the wall, it seems they want to be us facing no. We've been through too much to lose our love and let the haters come between us. We ain't gotta fight to prove our love. Plus how they know what's best for us. Hear what the haters say. Oh, let them talk, it's noise, baby, anyway. Oh, forget what the haters say. Oh, let them talk, it's noise, baby, anyway. They'll say we don't live like the Joneses, that we're too young to know what this feeling is. What they know. Let them talk their hearts away. As long as I got you, babe, I'm okay, yeah.
What time it is for you? All right, you guys, you're back live on the air, Regina Sunshine, here on the Regina Sunshine Show. Where? At Regina Sunshine Global Network. And I'm so excited to introduce you guys to someone that when I met her, I was blown away by her heart and her testimony. And I'm so excited you get to meet her today. Welcome to the show, Tabitha Shepherd. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
Doing good. You look so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
You're always so pretty. That's what I was thinking. The first time when you walked, I said, that child is gorgeous. The first time I saw you. Well, I do like to tell my audience how we met. We actually met the night we were both on
Channel 57. We were both being interviewed, and basically, when I came into the room, I sat right next to Regina, and we just immediately started talking, and I even was talking to you about how I needed to get better with my with my, I guess, my speaking, and you encouraged me even at that
Go
moment.
out there and
You
be
did.
you and
You
just
did.
enjoy yourself. And you know what I always tell my guests is we're gonna have a conversation, and other people just happen to get to listen to it, right?
Right.
And you on there like a superstar and rock that thing.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Well, I do want you to tell our audience briefly who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is Tabitha Shepherd. I'm an X-ray tech by trade, but I have my own ministry. It's called Anointed by Grace Ministry. What I do is I produce literature in the form of books, and I am trying to free God's people. I'm literally trying to take everything that He has given me, and I'm giving it back to His children. I'm trying to feed His flock. That is my mission, basically, to feed His flock, to give tips on deliverance, to give tips on freedom. Everything that I went through in my life, it was purpose. I know that it was not by chance. It wasn't a mistake. It happened, and God has restored me from that, delivered me from it, and I'm giving it back. And I don't have any schooling on anything that I'm talking about. The only schooling that I have is that I've been through it, and I feel like life is your best teacher.
Well, you know, so often when people are going through things, they want to hear from someone who has been where they are, not someone who's sitting somewhere giving them advice from a book they read or whatever, which is great, you know, to
Right.
get, I guess, clinical information. But when someone has been where you are and overcame,
Yes.
that testimony is hope in itself. And the day I met you, you were so transparent about what you had gone through. And I was like, that transparency is what wins people's hearts, because people know you're real then.
Yes,
You're not trying to put on any shows, because you walked in, first of all, just like you are beautiful, looking like you're in your early 20s, and you start telling me your story, and I was like, well, she's too young to have gone through all that, Lord. There's no way she could have gone through all that.
Right. No, I am a grandmother, actually.
Exactly. When you told me, I was like, Grandma, I know, right? When I say you need to get whatever water you're drinking and sell that to everybody.
Yes, I'm a grandmother, and I have been through a lot, and I believe that transparency, you have to be real with people. People need to be able to feel what you've been through. They need to be able to relate to you, and you can only do that when you can be real. Like, I believe in being, like, totally real. I don't believe in hiding anything. I mean, I believe in purity, because God, that's what He's taught me. You know, He's led me in that area. This is what I want you to do, and He wants me to represent Him, and represent Him in a way that that He desires for me to be represented, and that's not. God hates hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot teach or talk to people about something and I'm doing the same thing or try to get them to stop doing it. I have to first become that person in order for me to help anybody.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I'm ineffective.
Absolutely.
And Holy Spirit taught me that. So my desire is to be effective in everything that I do, because if I'm not effective, there's no good in me doing it.
Wow.
So God taught me to be pure. Like he totally taught that. I don't even go to church. I attend the church occasionally, but I'm not a member, because I did used to go to church. But when I was going to church, God was telling me to do something totally different, and I kept telling Him, I'm getting confused and I don't understand, because I see that people are being blessed over here and they're not doing everything that you're saying, and you're telling me to do one thing and I didn't understand it. So He called me out of the church and He said, I'm going to teach you from this place, and when I send you out, they'll know that you spent time with me.
Wow. So back to the transparency,
Yes,
because the night we met, we talked about some of the things you shared in your book, and
Yes.
that there were things that, you know, most people wouldn't share,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
but you keep, you know, why was it I mean, you talked about, you know, being real and being, you know, that person that people can say, wow, you know, I can see. Why did you then put it in book? It's one thing to tell it, right? It's another thing to put it in print and send it out around the world.
I know, and it's because the very first book that I wrote was Virtuous Woman. Virtuous Woman, I didn't even know that I was writing Virtuous Woman. Somebody told me, you're going to write a book. And I was like, really? I said, okay. Well, I prayed on it. I said, God, if I'm going to write a book, I need a name of the book. I need you to tell me. So I wrote Virtuous Woman, and that was my encouragement. And I said, I'm going to write another one. And when I began to write the second book, I didn't know the name of it. I just began to write. And when I began to write, this is what I came up with. Even to the point, and during that time that I was getting prepared for Open the Eyes of the Blind, he began to deliver me from some things that I had hidden. And I even had dug them so deep that I forgot they even happened. And one of the things was the molestation. And so he gave a friend of mine a dream. And he called me up and he was like, I had a dream about you. And I was like, okay. You know, he told me the dream and he was like, I think something happened to you. And I was like, no, it didn't. I mean, I immediately was like, and he said, no, I'm telling you that something happened to you. And I said, no, it didn't. I don't think that that's what the dream meant. And so, so we hung up the phone and I prayed and I called him back and he said, you don't understand. He was like, I'm shaking because of this dream. It was just, I guess, very real to him. And he said, did something happen to you? And at that point, it came back. And I said, yes, it did. And he actually knew who did it and everything.
Wow.
He knew who did it. And then I got off the phone with him and I prayed again and I went and I said, God, I said, why did you tell him? And he said, because you act as though it never happened.
Mm.
And the reason that I did that was because growing up in the household that I grew up in, I had no credibility. I had nobody that I could tell, nobody that believed in me. So therefore, all these things that were going on in my life as a child up until the time that I left home, nobody cared about. Everybody was all into their own lives. They were not bad people, but they did not know the Lord and they did not know my purpose. So therefore, I kind of got shuffled somewhere and just kind of grew up a motherless child. I had to write a book because God brought it all out, and it was time for me to be set free. And it was not even just for me to be set free, but for my family members to be set free, because these are the kind of things that are going around in people's families. And they're saying
nobody ever talks
about them, and they don't understand that when you don't talk about these things, these demons are continuing through generations and generations and generations, and nobody's speaking because they're embarrassed, but they don't understand that it's not your fault. It was not your fault, but the enemy put a spirit of condemnation and guilt. That's what had me bound. But God comes back and he said, no, it was not your fault. And even to the people that do it, they're people that are bound. They don't even understand what they're doing. They too are bound. So my desire was to break free, not even just me, but my whole entire family. They didn't actually take it like that right now.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But I know that God is working on them. I know that he's working on them because the word of God said the truth will set you free. So I decided, God gave me the strength. I was really nervous and scared when that book came out. I'm gonna be honest. I'm
sure, because when it came out and people start reading stuff and you know she's talking about somebody you know or somebody in your family. Yeah.
It was a big deal, and I had so much warfare. Like the enemy was sending me all these dreams. I mean, he was like hitting me so hard. The devil was so mad that he was getting ready to be exposed. I mean, even to the point that because my hands are anointed to write, I've had dreams where somebody was squeezing my hands, and every time I would try to move them, they would squeeze tighter. See, that's the things that the enemy does. He anoints he like basically calls an attack against your gift. Whatever the thing is that God has graced you in, that is the area that he will attack you in. So those are the things that was going on in my life, and I was praying, and I was just like, Lord, help me. And I finally just had to block everything out, and I just had to declare no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every lying tongue that rise up against me in judgment I condemn in the name of Jesus. And I just kept moving forward, and from that point, that's all I have been doing is just moving forward. Like I'm still being hit with a lot of things, but I know that God has called me to do a certain work, and he that has called me will protect me. He will do. If I've given him my life, he's able to take care of it. He's able to keep it.
Absolutely.
I just have to keep moving and doing what he's called me to do, because I'm going to touch ground. I'm going to help God free a lot of people because of my transparency and because I'm not fearful anymore. I understand what God has put in my hands, and I'm taking it very seriously, and that's why I write these books, and I'm like on book number 5 now. And I asked God the other day, and I'm so glad that you called me. I mean, you really blessed me, because I prayed, and I was like, Lord, I need open doors. I need open doors. You told me platforms. Where are they? And he said, the deeper that you go with me, the doors will fly open. And then I looked on my messenger and I saw you.
Wow. Well, that's how he operates. I tell people, so often people are looking for the open doors before they move.
Yep.
But you move and then the doors start to open.
Absolutely.
Because faith is an action word.
Yes,
I tell people, faith is not, oh, Lord, I just sit and I believe. No, no, no. If you really believe, then you're moving in the direction of the thing you believe. And that's where, like, you're stepping off the cliff and then, the floor starts to appear beneath your feet. That's what happens
Right.
whenever you truly believe God.
It does.
So let's go back to
Yes.
the transparency and the exposing.
Okay.
Because once the book comes out, of course, everybody is like, oh, she didn't really say that for everybody to see. So what were some of the responses from the people you know when the book came out?
They were not nice. They were not nice. I actually had to like completely cut off my social media from my family members.
Wow.
Period. Like I know they don't understand it. I got hate mail. Put it that way. I got hate mail. I had people tell me never to talk to them again, never to come to their funerals, all those things. But I understand it was coming from a dark place, and they don't understand. They don't understand because it wasn't put out to hurt anybody, but God gave me a testimony through everything that I had been through. So I have to tell the story, but they don't understand that because they're not walking with the Lord. They don't understand how God operates. So to them, it's like an attack. And it wasn't an attack. It was me being free. You cannot hold me anymore. You can't hold me to be quiet. You cannot hold me in this dungeon that you placed me in. It is over. So therefore, I had to be strong enough to say that if God is with me, who can be against me? And I move on that. I move on the fact that it's me and Jesus. I'm on this journey. I know that I cannot take my mother with me. I cannot take my grandmother with me. I told God, I said, I promise you that I will pray for them every single day, but I'm okay with going on with my life.
And that has to be tough. But, as you said before, and I've talked about this before on the show, that there's so many things that are happening in our families that we don't talk about, and that's why they continue to happen. Because people know, oh, nobody's going to say anything. And so when you continue to cover things up, you create this space for it to continue to fester and to grow and to affect people. But when you cut the light on, baby, you know what I'm saying? You cut the light on some stuff, like, folks start scampering like, oh. But it has to happen, and and that's one of the things I've especially said about, being in the church, is it has to be a place where people can go and hear truth, and we can talk about all those things. It's not supposed to be a place where you necessarily go and just get a good feeling. It should be a place you could go for healing, and you can be open and transparent, and you can go and that this sister here is gonna be like, baby, I've been there too. Come on, let's get on with this thing. Because if not, people continue to be hurt and be broken, and nothing ever changes.
Nothing ever. All you do is stress yourself up every single day, and you just look like your life is all great, but you cry yourself to sleep. There's been many a times that I've worked with people, and Holy Spirit would say she cries herself to sleep, and you never would know that it was that person. And I even asked the girl one day, I was like, I said, you cry yourself to sleep, don't you? And she got very upset. But then after she came back and she said, you know what, you were right. Wow. Yeah, because it's a lot of hurt people. Everybody has gone through something. None of us go through this life unscathed. Period. We don't. So therefore, it's okay for people to say, okay, this happened to me, that happened to me, because the admitting, you can't sell a car unless you own it. So own it. Look yourself in the mirror and say, look, these things happened. I need deliverance. I need freedom. Even when I began to need to be delivered, I couldn't go to the church. I went to the internet, and I was like, okay, I need to find out how I can get free. I went and I Googled like books, and I began to print them out. Well, one of them I could print out because it was free, but the rest of them I went and bought and ordered. The one that I could print out, I went and made copies and passed them out to all kind of people. I was like, here, you got a problem? Here, take this book. And I did, like, God gave me so much, like, encouragement. Like, I was laying hands on myself. I was not a minister, but I knew that I had some issues. I had some serious issues, even with the thoughts of suicide. That was, like, my very first, like, issue that I needed to get delivered from, and I had been dealing with that spirit since I was 15 years old. I tried to commit suicide I took a lot of pills at 15, and I woke up the next day. Nobody in my house knew. I went to school like nothing happened.
Are you serious?
And I did. Nobody ever knew. And so, but I began to still have those thoughts even as an adult woman. And so I remember I picked up a book by T.D. Jakes one day. And it was Woman Art Thou Loose. And I was doing school shopping, and I was like, let me get this little book. It was like $5. And I got the book. And so when I read it, he said, if you have thoughts of suicide, it's the devil. And I immediately dropped the book on the floor, and I said, God, this is my first probably real encounter. And I said, I need you to help me because the devil is trying to kill me, and he's trying to get me to do it. I knew at that point that it was an attack on my life. All the other times and everything else that happened to me, I didn't understand that it was an attack on my life. I didn't understand that I was called to complete a certain work. But at that point, it was like it hit me, and that spirit left me from that point on. So I speak about that because nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody wants to act like everything is all great. But people have had thoughts of their lives never getting better. You think that those thoughts are yours, and they are not yours. They are the enemy that is tricking you. He's lying to you and telling you these things to get you to take your life because there are so many things that God has for you.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
Yes.
Because one of the things I tell people is that I remember the moment when I recognized that my voice wasn't the only voice I was hearing. And that was profound.
Yep.
Because I had a friend of mine to help me recognize, first of all, the voice of the Holy Spirit. Because I was somewhere, I was with my husband, and I think I left my keys. We drove together, but he was going with some businessmen somewhere else. And when he left, I realized I didn't have keys to the car. And I said, something told me to get my keys. My friend, I can't remember his name right now, George said, he said, was it like this? Regina, get your keys. I said, yeah. He said, that was the Holy Spirit.
Praise God.
I said, what? He said, never loud, just a little voice, and get your keys.
A little small voice.
And I was like, for real? And it blew my mind. I was like, so that's the voice I've been. He was like, yes. And then he said, the enemy speaks to you as well. He said, the big thing in your life is to be able to discern the voices.
Yes.
When it's God, when it's the enemy, and when it's you.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't know that.
No, they don't.
They just think that's their own voice.
Their own voice.
Yes.
Or even like you, like I struggled with that. Like I was like, who is talking to me? And I'm to the point now where I know that, whenever it's God, it's always going to line up with his word.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to line up with the Bible. And when it doesn't, it's the enemy. And you just have to have a very strong focused mind. Like you really.
Oh, yes.
People tell me all the time, you're always thinking, because I'm always, I have things always coming to me. So I have to discern what it is and when it's not the Lord, I immediately cut it off. I immediately reject it. I don't accept those things, and I don't let them fester in me, because if you do, they will grow like weeds. So I definitely, my mind is always thinking. So yeah, you have to understand that those are not your thoughts. And I try to teach people that, but you're right. It's like you think that, oh yeah, no, you didn't tell yourself to go out and do that. That didn't even make sense.
And I remember even once somebody even expounding on that, about God being, gentle with us when he speaks to us. The enemy is very pushy. He's very, do it. That's why I tell people, when you have an argument with somebody and that voice is saying, yeah, tell them this one, that ain't God, and that's the enemy.
No, but you're right. And you'll be like, you know what? I just had a thought. Let me go and do this. But you're right. That is the enemy, because God do not be taught. He doesn't talk like that. Yeah.
And the only time I've heard God be really loud with me is when I've been in a dangerous situation, and he's like, move now, go.
Wow.
Get, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I got to go. Y'all can stay here if you want to, but the Lord says But that's so important. And, and I don't know if you've written about that, but I can see you writing about that, because that is a space a lot of people are lost in. They don't know who they're hearing. And if you can help them discern who they hear, it's going to change people's lives. I'm telling you, that is freeing when you can sit down and say, okay, who was that? That wasn't Jesus. Okay.
Right. And that's true. And you know what? I could write about that, because I have battled with that. Like I'm just, like I said, coming to like really being able to discern who is speaking to me. And
it makes all the difference in the world. And I remember even being able to pass that on to my son. And that was one of the things that has blessed me the most about him is, even at an early age, he would be able to tell me, well, God said this. I'm like, how do you know? He says, I know. He said, because this is how he speaks. Gabriel. Like whisper. I'm like, you're right, baby. That's him. That's a powerful thing to know. Your child can walk out into the world and they can hear for themselves and not have to,
Listen
always
to somebody else
exactly.
but they actually
So
paying attention.
you've got to write that book.
I got you.
That's freeing.
Okay.
You talking about set some people free? They be like, I thought all this time that was the devil talking. That was somebody else telling me to cuss my husband. I know that was the enemy telling you to cuss your husband. Now that's
destroy your marriage.
Yes. Somebody needed that.
Yeah.
God is telling you be patient with
Yep.
him. Be kind to him. The enemy is telling you he shouldn't be talking to you like that girl. Like
Yep.
it sound like your friends in your head and everything.
But that's what he does. That's what he does. Everything God says is like, it's so humble. It's when he tells you to do something, it's always like walking in humility. It's always like, you know what, don't worry about that. It's always, give him another chance. It's always something about love, and it's always about giving people chances because that's how he looks at us. None of us are perfect, so he's like, we're supposed to forgive just the way that Jesus forgive. And it says, forgive your neighbor as love your neighbor as you love yourself. And our neighbor is everybody. Your husband, your child is everybody. But we like to pick and choose who our neighbors are.
Well, it's interesting, because we're having a completely different conversation than
I
I thought we were going to have, but this is so good. I remember a friend of mine, she gave me this book called Love Busters. And it just talks about loving your spouse and, seeing them the way God sees them. Because so often it's like we're looking at them like it's me versus you, right? Yeah. Like, no, just like you're God's child. That's God's child. He wants you to love them just like you want to be loved. And when you begin to see people like that, you treat people differently because it's not, me versus you,
We're together.
We're together.
And that's how Virtuous Woman, though, talks about that. It talks about a woman basically seeing that her success depends on her husband. And when you see that your success depends on him, you're going to make sure he eats. You're going to make sure that he's well fed. You're not going to spend his money frivolously. You're going to love him. You're going to, go over and beyond because you know that the two of you are connected. We are not separate. We are one. And that's very important. But like I've been married before. I'm divorced. I've been divorced for 7 years. So, but when you marry, we always look at the nuptials, the pretty dress and the occasion and the event and everything. But nobody ever talks about what's going to happen after. And that when you say those vows, till death do us part, through better or worse, like that's deep. Like if you truly listen to it, like that is really, to me, that is really, really deep. And he's letting you know already, this stuff ain't gonna be a cakewalk. You're gonna have to do some things that you don't want to do, and you're gonna have to love beyond measures. And but a lot of times I think that marriages are ending not even because they weren't supposed to start, or maybe that they stopped liking each other because they loved each other in the beginning. But I think that the whole marriage idea is perfect. But I think when you have broken people that come into a marriage, say the woman, say the man, say both of them are broken. Let's just say both of them are broken and they come into a marriage, and you're supposed to love that person as you love yourself. But a lot of times you came into a marriage and you don't even love yourself. So how can you even give the love to your husband or to your spouse the way that you're supposed to? That's why a lot of times it's best to wait. It's best to make sure that you are healed before you get into a relationship, because you get into a relationship and you're not even healed, the relationship won't prosper. A lot of times that's why God won't even send a woman her husband, because he has to prepare her. He wants to get her ready. He wants to adorn her and everything that she needs to be able to keep this marriage. You have to be adorned in peace and in love beyond measures.
Girl, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
I know I could go on and on.
Yeah, I love it, but you're telling the truth. She's telling me about the time. We're just having such a great conversation. But please tell our audience where they can get your books.
Okay, so my books are available on my website, anointedbygraceministry.net. You can also get my books off of Amazon and Barnes & Noble. But again, my books are on anointedbygraceministry.net. You can find me on social media, Arthur_Tabitha_Shepherd. And thanks.
Awesome. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. We'll have our next guest, and then everybody will come back and close up the show together. Sound good? Yes. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When I come back, can't wait for you guys not to meet, but to welcome back to the show Mr. Terry Moore. You're here with Regina Sunshine on the Regina Sunshine Show. Where? Regina Sunshine Global Network.
They say we don't deserve it all. It seems like they always pray for the fall. Even when our backs up on the wall, it seems they want plus how they know what's best for us. Hear what the haters say. Let them talk, cause you know it's ready anyway. Forget what the haters say. Let them talk, cause you know it's ready anyway. They'll say we don't live like the Joneses, that we're too young to know what it's feeling. But what they know. Let them talk their hearts away. As long as I got you, babe, I'm okay. Yeah.
All right, you guys, you're back live on the air with Regina Sunshine here on the Regina Sunshine Show, where? Regina Sunshine Global Network. And I'm so excited to have a legend. Yeah, I said a legend. I know he walks around like he's just Terry Moore. But welcome to the show, Terry Moore.
Hey, what's going on? Thank you. I'm just me. Thank you.
You're just you? Yeah. For those that are in studio with me, you already know he's more than just him, right?
Thank you.
Well, I like to mention again how I met someone, and we actually met, was it 11th Hour? It was the showing for 11th Hour for Angela Carswell and Reginald Kaysen with the Positive Arts Movement. That's right. And I have to tell the story because, again, we were out there talking to Terry before the show. Hey, Terry, how's so? He never once said what he did or anything. And so when the thing begins and he gets a shout out from stage, oh, Terry Moore is in the building. And I was like, Terry, you didn't tell us you did any of this stuff. So just a reminder to our audience, tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Oh, wow. I like to say I'm a dinosaur because I'm 54 years old. I'll be 54 next month. So I always tell people I'm a dinosaur in the industry. I've been involved in the music industry since 1988. I've been very blessed to work with a number of people, including Yoko Ono, Roy Ayers, MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, MTV, worked on the Self-Destruction record, worked with Sinead O'Connor, worked with Will Smith when he was Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. I actually only interviewed Will Smith for Right On Magazine. And then I used to work for Billboard Magazine. I worked with a company back in the early 90s. The owners were the original founders of Sergio Valente Jeans.
Wow.
And they had sold the jeans and created a hip-hop line called Major Damage Clothing. So me and my partner at the time, Gene Peterson, shout out to Gene Peterson. He now works for the Golden State Warriors. Just won his 3rd championship ring as a basketball scout. And shout out to my man. He's doing big things. But me and him got with Major Damage Clothing, and we put clothes on everybody. That was we did product placement. And we actually got kicked out of the industry indirectly, because MTV and BET recognized that clothing companies were getting free advertisement.
Wow.
So they started blurring out the images on the videos. So that put us out of business. I had to go find something else to do. But worked with Kenny Smith from the Houston Rockets when he had his record label.
Stop for a second.
Yes.
Did you say Kenny Smith?
Kenny Smith.
You talking about UNC Chapel Hill?
Yeah, Kenny Smith. Yes.
I've had the biggest crush on
Get out of here, what?
of my life. Oh my God!
Get out of here,
Anybody that knows me know. Oh yeah, I'm a big UNC Chapel Hill fan.
Get
I
out
have
of
been
here.
in love with Kenny Smith since I was a little girl. Oh my God!
That's my man.
Oh, good. I didn't know that.
No, shout out to Kenny Smith.
God.
Kenny Smith. I gotta give him. Kenny Smith gave me my nickname, T Moore. Started calling me T Moore, and that caught on.
I feel kind of hot. I mean, my mama, everybody knows that I've been in love with Kenny Smith all my life. Oh my God.
Kenny grew up in Queens and played for the Houston Rockets. I've been to Kenny Smith's house in Houston.
Stop,
Shout out to Kenny. Yeah.
I can't do this with you today. Oh my God. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all good. Kenny is good people, down to earth. His brother-in-law, Al Taylor, shout out to Al Taylor in New York, but Kenny actually had a record label called Baseline to Baseline, and he hired me as a publicist. And yeah.
I'm trying to calm down. I mean,
Kenny doing his thing.
That's like, well, I'm 46 years old.
Okay.
So I've been in love with Kenny at least 30 years of my life.
Kenny is Kenny's my man. I actually saw Kenny for the first time in years, about 2 years ago, he was down here taping a basketball special with Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley. And I hadn't seen Kenny probably in like maybe 10 years before that. So when me and my son was there, and I was like, okay, is he going to remember me? And I was like, I told one of the assistants, I was like, can you tell Kenny Smith that Timor is over here? And I was like, okay, is he going to come over? And he came over, what's up, Timor? And I was like, what's up, man? It's like, yo, this is your son? And he gave a lot of love to my son. So
That's what's up.
yeah, he's very down to earth, very humble.
Oh, I kind of hijacked what you were saying
Oh,
because
no,
when you
it's all
said
good.
I was, you took me there.
I'm sorry. It's all good. So yeah, after that, working with Kenny, I jumped out of the music industry, worked for Coca-Cola for about 8 years, and then jumped back into the industry. And so now I'm doing everything from music business consultant to greeting cards now.
Wow, you have done it all.
Yes, it's a blessing.
And you, like I said before, know some of everybody. You know, for those that behind the scenes here today, you know, well, I can say this because everybody that watches my show knows there's one person I have been trying to get on my show since I started this show 4 years ago, and that's Molly Music. And so I have put that bug in Terry's ear,
Right,
and he's
right.
going to see who he knows.
Right. For Panda Express, put
For-
it on the
for
table
Panda
for Panda
Express,
Express.
I got to feed him Panda Express in exchange for getting.
I'm not hard to deal with,
No.
Panda Express. I just love
I told,
food.
and you know what's interesting? I can't remember, he was in town about a month or so ago for a game. I can't remember what game it was, and he was tweeting.
Oh, word, okay.
And I tweeted, Molly, I would love to have you on my show. And he said, good, I'll come for some chicken wings.
Oh,
and I
see?
was like,
See?
chick, whatever you want to do. I said, I'll feed you chicken
Yeah,
wings.
brother love food. That's what's
Wow. Well, you know, you've had a life where, like I said, you've been exposed to a lot. You've been all over. And one of the things that I talk about, especially with our young people today, is that a lot of them are making some of the decisions they've made because they haven't been exposed to more than maybe their neighborhood or, you know, just what people in their lives have been exposed to. What do you believe the exposure that you've had in your life, how you believe it has enriched your life, and do you think it's important that we make sure we are exposing our kids to different experiences as well?
Well, you know, first of all, I don't know if a lot of your viewers know, but you know, I was born with cerebral palsy. So when I was born, my mother had German measles, so that complicated the birth. And when I was probably about maybe 3 or 4 years old, the doctors told my mother to put me in a nursing home. So they thought he'll never amount to anything, put him in a nursing home. So, you know, I'm thankful for God and thankful for my mom and father that you know, we're gonna wait this out, because I've had about maybe 10, 15 operations, but being disabled is actually a blessing. So that part of my life, being disabled, has really enriched my life. It's been a blessing. Also, which has enriched my life, is that a lot of people don't know, but I'm actually a product of being a juvenile delinquent. Oh, when I was growing up, I was...
You didn't tell me that before, Terry. This is new
shoot,
information.
I was a beast back in the days. I was doing everything from smoking weed, I was smoking cocaine, I was sniffing cocaine, I was drinking every weekend to the point that I couldn't stand up. Me and my crew, we was hitting the clubs in New York every weekend. Literally Friday night, go to the club, come home Saturday morning, sleep all day, and go right back to the club Saturday night. Shout out to the Roxy's from the Beach Street movie. So Crush Groovin', yeah. So, but that was my life for many years. And I had to make a decision one day when I was so drunk that the room was spinning. And I remember saying, when I laid down on my bed, the room was spinning like, I don't want the room to spin anymore. When I closed my eyes, the room better stop spinning. And I closed my eyes, and when I opened up my eyes, the room was still spinning, and I got mad. I said when I closed my eyes, I want the room to stop spinning. And when I opened up my eyes for the second time, the room was still spinning, and I knew at that moment I wasn't in control. And at that moment, I stopped doing everything. I stopped drinking, I stopped doing the drugs and everything, and made a clear cut to do something better.
Wow. That's new information. You didn't
Yeah,
tell me that
for
before.
real.
That's good. Well, you know, I remember when we talked before, I think one of the brands you were using then was the number one, what was it, disabled speaker?
Oh, the hottest disabled speaker in America.
Yes.
Hottest disabled speaker in America. Yeah, I still use that from time to time. The hottest disabled speaker in America. And I'm not saying that I'm the hottest. I don't you know, thinking myself as being like the hottest. But it's a brand because I know my disability is my trademark, which I love. And when I go do radio shows, the first thing they say, well, how do you want us to introduce you? I say, well, say I'm the hottest disabled speaker in America. So it's almost like the guy on the radio, girl on the radio is endorsing me. I want to introduce Terry Moore, the hottest disabled speaker in America. So they're helping me build my brand.
Well, I'm glad that you brought back up, that you were born with cerebral palsy, because when I think of you, I think about Terry the Amazing. That's what I think all the stuff Terry has done.
Thank you.
And then it's almost, and not in a negative, it's almost an afterthought that you have cerebral palsy.
Sure.
And how do you prefer? I mean, is it something that, like you said before, it's a blessing for people to know I have cerebral palsy and I've done all these things? Or is it something that I guess I'm wondering, for you, what is best in terms of getting your story out, fully living your mission? Is it something you want to be out front, or do you like the fact that people are like, Terry's so awesome, I didn't even think about the fact he had cerebral palsy?
I appreciate that. I mean, I want them to know. I like telling people about it because it just shows people how amazing God is. Because again, like I said, I wasn't supposed to be here 50-something years ago, and so I love walking into a room and people have no idea my history of who I've worked with. And you go to my house, I got gold records and platinum records, but that's all God. That's I always say, it ain't me. That's my manager up there.
I like that.
That's my manager. He's just using me. So, in regards to just showing people that it can be done, there's no excuses. There's no excuses. So it can definitely be done. If I can do it, yeah.
Well, I'm sitting here, and Christine is probably thinking the same thing. Christine has been working on encouraging her son, who is disabled, who's in a wheelchair. He actually lost the ability to walk from the flu. The flu got in his spine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When she told, I had never heard of that ever happening.
Never heard of that either.
Wow. And she's been telling him, you have a story to tell. People need to see that in spite of the things you face, that you're still here and you're still, pursuing your dreams and everything. Does it encourage you when you have someone who comes to you and say, you know what, Terry, I've watched you and I see what you've done and what God has done through you, and it has inspired me. How does that make you feel?
Oh, it does, because, shout out to my Facebook fam, because I get people to come up to me all the time out of nowhere, and they're like, you're Terry Moore, and, I read your Facebook posts all the time, and, you're very inspirational, so that's a blessing. And, in regards to your son, how long has it been since he's been part of the disabled community?
Since the age of 12, and he'll be 27 in December.
Okay, so at some point, it's like a light bulb will come on for people that are disabled. I would never go back to, if I had the opportunity to be able-bodied, I wouldn't do it. Because being disabled, I actually see things that most people that are able-bodied don't see. It's like having a third eye, so to speak. Wow. And there's things that able-bodied people get upset at, the littlest things, that doesn't bother me.
Wow.
Yeah.
He says the same exact thing. He sees so much from a seated position than we see.
Oh, absolutely, from a standing position.
I got chills. Y'all said that.
From a standing position.
I can hear my son saying the same exact thing. And he's the first person I've heard say that. And now to hear you say it is just confirmation from him.
Yeah.
So they got to meet. You got to connect them.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. Being disabled, the part about it is that it really is a membership. Like I always say, membership has its privilege.
Wow.
Membership has its privilege, because I see when you don't know, when you're in that moment of being depressed and you're like, why did this happen to me? And I went through all that when I was young. Why did this happen to me? I must have been bad in the former life, or maybe my parents would, and I'm an only child, so maybe my parents did something. But after you get through that denial, and you start saying to yourself, but I'm still worthy. God is still good.
Yes.
I mean, every day he shows up. I tell people every time that black truck that I'm driving, that Dodge 2007 Dodge Nitro, that's all God. I got that truck for $4,000 with 14,000 miles on it. That ain't nothing but God. Nothing but God. So.
Wow, I love it.
Wow.
Well, since you were on the show, you started a new greeting card line. Tell us about your greeting card
Wow,
line.
greeting, you know, we don't. Okay, I'll tell you another God story. So I was in this company about 6, 7 years ago, and I didn't follow what other people in the company were doing because it is network marketing, and I tried to do my own thing, but I wasn't consistent with it. And I jumped out probably about a year after joining the company. So earlier this year, I was actually home, and I love network marketing industry. I've done Legal Shield, which was great. I've done a
I was
couple
in
of.
Amway for years.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All that business mindset you
Oh,
learn from
you
being in
learn.
network.
It's like
Yes.
that's university right
Yes.
there. That's like going to school.
Yes.
And so back in April, I was sitting home and I was actually praying about it. And I was having a conversation with God, and I was like, you know, Lord, I want to get back into the industry, but I need to do something that I'm passionate about, because you have to find something that you really like to do. And all of a sudden, while I'm on YouTube, all these YouTube videos started popping up about send-out cards. And it was called the new send-out card. Like they did all these major changes. And I started looking at the company again, and people that were in the company when I first started financially had just jumped hurdles.
Wow.
I mean, so I started, and I wanted something that was residual, because I'm coming from a music background. I understand how important in the music industry residual and publishing is. So I started reaching out to my old colleagues and coworkers, if you want to say, in the industry, and my father was actually my first test. He doesn't even know this, but if he listens to it, he's my first. My father's very skeptical, and nothing really impresses him. So I took a picture of me and my son. We was having dinner one night. I took a picture of me and my son together, and I put it in a card, and I sent it to my father for his birthday. And I called him up, like, kind of nervous, like, hey, did you get something in the mail? He said, man, where did you get that card from? Man, I love that card. And the card made him so excited. He's like, man, I got it sitting on my TV stand right now. That I started to send people cards, and the reaction people started, I mean, people call me up crying. Because we're like a society now where we're all digital, you know, birthday texts and happy birthday on Facebook. So people don't get cards anymore. Yeah. And I've actually had people reach out to me and say, I didn't get a birthday card this year. You were the only one that sent me a birthday card.
Wow.
So it's like a card ministry, because you're touching people's lives and you're trying to get people back into the mindset of prompting. One of the things that the owner of the company, Cody Bateman, the way he started the company was, years ago, his brother reached out to him. He said, oh, I'll call him back later. And he had a prompting, you should reach out to your brother, that spirit. You should reach out to your brother. He pushed it off, and then a couple of weeks later, his brother passed. So he created this company to say, every time you think about somebody, send them a card. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So where can our audience get the cards from you if they want them?
They can go to sendpaperlove.info, reach out to me on Facebook, and I'll show you. You know, actually, with my system, you can actually send one card for free.
Did you say Send Paper Love?
Send Paper Love, yeah.
I love that. I love that, because I'm the kind of person, if you've ever read 5 Love Languages.
Oh, I'm a big fan of 5 Love Languages.
Well,
big fan.
I'm a words of affirmation. So I
okay.
notes and that kind of stuff. So I'm the kind of person, you send me a card, it's like, oh, you know,
Right, it makes
you
the
got me. You got
Hear
me.
that, fellas? Hear that? But yeah, I mean, 5 Love Language is showing appreciation, because even in business, how often do you send your clients a thank you card?
You're right.
Yeah. When you get that client, you got them. You work so hard for that client. You work so hard for that business meeting. And you finally get the meeting. You walk away and you're like, I'm good now. But who turns around and says, thank you for the meeting, or thank you for being my client?
Makes all the difference. The people that do, those are the ones you remember. And those
Yeah.
are the people that you want to stay connected with.
That's
Because
right.
you know, not only did they appreciate your business, they appreciate your time.
Yeah, but yeah, just thinking about them. And, you know, now we have an app, so now when I go to a networking event, I'll take a picture of us together. And before I get out of the parking lot, I'm sending you a card from the app.
That is so dope.
Yeah, because the card is printed, so these are like.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, you give me some ideas. That is so, I mean, because like everyone is so digital.
Right.
And people aren't as individually connected.
right.
with each other. Those types of things stand out.
They do.
Because you're doing something nobody else is
Nobody's
doing.
Yeah. Could you imagine? And the thing about it is, I sent somebody a card on Facebook. You got a lot of people celebrating milestones. So I'll take your happy anniversary picture off of your Facebook page and put it in a card and mail it to you.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then you got
I'm
your
sure
logo on the back. So when they have that anniversary card up in their house forever, your brand is on the back of that card.
I love it. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I'm sure the women love it. That's my next question.
Yes.
Is that what you hear a lot from the women?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Because you know they're getting this because people are celebrating stuff on Facebook, happy birthdays, anniversaries. Oh, I'm going on a trip to Cancun, and those are perfect times to just take the pictures of them and their kids, and them hanging out with their spouses or their friends, and send them a memory.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is awesome. You know, because even with, I think I don't know if I told Tabitha this when I met her. My coach always talks about putting your image on the front of your book, because she talks about, she said, people are drawn to pictures, and
Yes.
people will keep it forever because it
Forever.
has their picture
That's right,
or your
visual.
picture on it. And so
Yeah.
you're right. If it's got
Visual.
their picture, they will never take it down. They'll sit it up there forever. It could be 20 years later. They'll be like, Child, Terry gave you this card 20 years ago. He sure did. Put it back on the shelf.
I got a guy, one of my business partners, did a card for a school, and he put all the faculty members on the front of the card. He went back to that school 20 years later. That card is still sitting in a case in the hallway of the school.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for coming and sharing, because I'm already thinking about some things that I need some cards for. But remind our audience how they can follow you, and again, where they can get the cards.
Oh, I say Google me. Just
Yeah.
type Terry Moore. Google me. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, terrymoore.com, sendpaperlove.info, and just inbox me and connect with me. I'm very approachable.
I had to laugh when you said Google you, because you're right. You're one of those people that you Google
I appreciate
him.
that. Google me, yeah.
Google him. You're going to be shocked. But so we're going to take a quick break. We're going to bring Tabitha back.
Absolutely.
And we'll close out with her. Okay, you guys are live here at Regina Sunshine on the Regina Sunshine Show at Regina Sunshine Global Network.
They say we don't deserve it all. It seems like they always pray for the fall. Even when our backs up on the wall, it seems they wanna be us facing no. We've been through too much to lose our love, and let the haters come between us. We ain't gotta fight to prove our love. Plus how they know what's best for us. Hear what the haters say. Oh, let them talk, it's noise, baby, anyway. Oh, forget what the haters say. Oh, let them talk, it's noise, baby, anyway. They'll say we.
I see everybody sending you love.
I know.
All right, you guys, you're back live at Regina Sunshine here on the Regina Sunshine Show at Regina Sunshine Global Network. I've been joined by both of my guests now. Tabitha's back with us, and of course, Terry is here with us as well. And, you know, I like to end the show giving my guests an opportunity to encourage the audience, because it's always important that you hear from someone that you relate to. I always say that one of my guests is going to relate to somebody that I'm not going to relate to. So my question for the day is this. Both of you have overcome, you know, tremendous struggles or overcome many obstacles to achieve the things that you have. And if there's someone who, I would say in your case, Tabitha, that is dealing with, you know, a past of molestation, or Terry, from your point of view, someone who is dealing with a particular disability, what is your word of encouragement to them in order to keep going? But also I want to give them something practical that you do to stay encouraged. If it's something you read, or, you know, do you meditate, whatever, something that can help them in their right now situation. Tabitha.
I would say to forgive and ask God for peace that surpasses all understanding. You got to forgive people. I know it's hard, but if you hold on to it, you'll never be able to move forward. So I have to say to forgive. And one thing that I do to help myself when I'm being, kind of beat down with different things, I read scripture prayer. And I declare and decree over my life. I exalt the word of God over my life. So when I'm feeling lonely, I say, no, I am not lonely. My mind is at peace. My mind is at rest. I am loved. I declare these things over my life. They're affirmations.
Yes, yes.
And I speak that over my life. So I have to encourage people to speak those things over their lives and just watch what you speak, because life and death lies in the power of the tongue. Yes. And just, forgive people, let it go. Ask God for your healing. Declare your healing. Declare your peace and your joy and your forgiveness and your freedom. And just know that once you've been set free, you're free. Like, don't let the enemy come back and try and tell you that you're not free, because you are.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned the encouraging yourself, because we're not always going to find people that are going to encourage us. You got to. Sometimes it's just you alone at the house by yourself. Help me, Lord.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Terry?
My philosophy has always been treat people the way you want to be treated. And what I do throughout the day on the personal side and on the spiritual side, personal side, what has helped keep me motivated is having a calendar. I write everything down. I write down like 8:30 breakfast and 9 a.m. check emails and 10 a.m.
Yes.
So I stay on track with everything. And I'm constantly, on the spiritual side, I'm constantly talking to God about everything. Almost like I'm having a conversation with someone in a room. If I burp, I'll say, excuse me, Lord.
That's what's up. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. Car start, thank you, Lord.
Yeah. Giving him all the glory.
Yeah.
For real.
Awesome. And the last thing, legacy, because I didn't get to talk to both of you about legacy. When you look at your life, what do you hope is the legacy that you'll leave behind? You want to go?
Okay. Once I leave this earth, that my name is written, people will know that I was here, that my books will continue to heal and deliver and set people free when I'm gone to heaven, that my children will be able to, when they come against something, or something is come against them rather, that they'll be able to be like, okay, mommy probably said something that could help me in this book. I can take this book and I can be set free. I can do whatever she told us to do. So that's my legacy, is to leave them with wisdom, to leave them with knowledge, and just leave the world the world to know that I was here.
That's awesome. Terry?
I would have to say I've got one son, 20 years old, and 21. For people in general, my son, I want to leave a legacy of, if he can do it, anybody can do it. And to never give up, and that life is all about making decisions, making mistakes, but really just never give up. I mean, I always believe, when I got into the music industry, when people told me I couldn't do it, I just couldn't understand why not. I was like, well, they get dressed just like I get dressed. So they can get dressed like they're not rocket science. I love Puffy. Puffy is my man, but he's not a rocket science. So I figured if he could do it, then yeah, I can do it too.
That's awesome. Well, I know you guys were blessed. Thank you guys so much for being so open and transparent and sharing your lives with our audience. To my audience, I leave you with the words I always leave you with. Remember this: God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life. Again, a shout out to our sponsors, Anita Mitchell Blackwell with Bold Favor Magazine and Leading Through Living Community, to Terry Searcy with Studio T. Remember, Teen Bride Tribe, 7 o'clock tonight here at 4040 Chapel Hill Road. Come and eat with us. It was good last week. Well, Christine didn't get none. She wasn't here. It was good last week. Yes. So we, trust me, my son ate enough for me, you, and several other people last week. So again, come and join us in studio, or we'll be doing some live broadcasting as well. But I leave you with my personal motto. I always say it's not over till I win. If I hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over. So I tell you today, it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, baby, that just means it's not over. Be blessed. Keep winning. We're out.